I'm Elise Harper, 29, a graphic designer in Portland, Oregon. The barbecue was in full swing on the sprawling back lawn of my parents'cedar shingled house in Beaverton, string lights twinkling overhead, the smoky tang of tri-tip mingling with fresh-cut grass, and the sweet char of corn on the cob. Kids chased each other around picnic tables laden with deviled eggs, potato salad bowls sweating in the late summer heat, and pitchers of iced tea beaded with condensation. I'd just driven in from the city, my freelance portfolio tucked under one arm, still buzzing from closing a $28,000 contract with a local brewery chain, custom can designs, menu layouts, the whole branding package. It was my ticket out. Dad raised his frosty beer bottle, voice cutting through the laughter like a knife. Elise, you've been mooching off this family long enough. Pack your crap and Levin never returned. The yard erupted in cruel chuckles. Mom's manicured hand fluttered to her lips, but her eyes sparkled with amusement. My brother Landon, 32, lounged in a lawn chair, ribs dripping sauce down his chin, grinning like he'd scripted the whole scene. Aunt Karen snorted into her wine. Uncle Ted slapped the table. Even little cousin Mia, 12, froze mid-bite of her hot dog, staring at me with wide, confused eyes. I stood there, paper plate of potato salad trembling in my grip, the sun baking my neck, and felt every smirk like a brand. They thought I'd beg, cry, or slink away in shame. They had no clue I'd spent the last year quietly building an empire they couldn't tax. Before I reveal how I flipped their world upside down and finally claimed the life I deserved, drop the city and state you're watching from in the comments. Let me know this resonates. The favoritism wasn't new. It was woven into the fabric of our family like the faded Harper crest on Dad's old golf shirts. I was 7 when I won the Washington County Art Contest with a watercolor of the Columbia River at sunset, the sky bleeding oranges and pinks across the water. I burst through the screen door, certificate clutched like a trophy, paint still under my fingernails. Dad was in his recliner, beer in hand, eyes glued to Landon's Little League game on TV. I thrust the paper at him. Look, Dad? First place. He glanced, grunted nice, then turned back to the screen where Landon had just struck out again. Mom swooped in later, framing Landon's participation ribbon in a shadow box above the fireplace. Mine rolled up and shoved in a junk drawer with broken crayons and old batteries. That drawer became a graveyard for every achievement they ignored. By 10, I was teaching myself Photoshop on our clunky family Dell, designing birthday invitations for neighbors and charging $5 a pop. I'd hand the cash to Mom for groceries, watching it vanish into her purse. Landon got a shiny new dirt bike for trying hard at soccer practice. He'd spent most of it picking dandelions in the outfield. I got hand-me-down sneakers from Aunt Karen, soles flapping like sad puppy tongues. Make do, Dad said, ruffling Landon's hair. High school turned the imbalance into a chasm. I pulled all-nighters on Fiverr, crafting logos for small businesses while cramming for AP Studio Art, my eyes bloodshot from screen glare. Landon coasted through community college, dropping classes when the readings got boring or the parties called. Dad paid his tuition anyway, no questions asked. He's finding himself. Mom cooed, signing another $4,200 check. I funded Portland State myself, ramen dinners, coffee-fueled study sessions in the library, graduating with a 3.9 GPA and $42,000 in student loans hanging over me like a storm cloud. Dad's graduation gift, a $50 Home Depot card for your future apartment. Landon got the down payment on a sleek condo, downtown, $65,000 wired without a blink. After graduation, the grind didn't stop. I moved back into the Beaverton house to save for a down payment. But Dad laid down the law the first week. $800 a month rent. Cash only, handed over in an envelope every first of the month. No receipts, no tax write-off, family contribution. He called it pocketing the bills with a smirk. I paid it religiously, stacking every freelance dollar beyond that into a secret high-yield account under Harper Designs LLC name. I'd registered quietly 6 months earlier. Landon still occupied the finished basement rent-free, his so-called music studio, a chaotic den of empty Red Bull cans, tangled guitar cables, and half-written songs he never finished. Mom called it creative chaos and slipped him $500 gas money whenever his band practiced. My W-2 South from brewery gigs and app UI projects went straight to Dad's wallet. "You're lucky we let you stay," he'd mutter, counting the crisp hundreds. I swallowed the bitterness, sketching logos on my laptop until 3 a.m. The glow of the screen, my only companion. Harper Designs was my escape hatch mock-ups for cafes, branding for startups, each invoice a brick in the foundation of my freedom. The barbecue was meant to be a milestone, I'd driven out from Portland that morning, portfolio in tow, ready to casually mention the brewery contract over ribs. Maybe, just maybe, they'd see me. Instead, Dad had been simmering all week about the burden of my rent. Never mind that $800 barely covered the electric bill for his man cave TV setup. Landon, 3 IPAs deep, decided it was his moment. Elise thinks she's too good for us now, he slurred, waving a sauce-drenched rib bone like a scepter. Ping peanuts while I'm the real talent here. Aunt Karen snorted into her Chardonnay. Uncle Ted slapped the picnic table. Cousin Mia looked up from her hot dog, bun crumbling in her small hands, her eyes darting between us like she sensed the storm. Mom's eyes flicked to Dad, waiting for the signal. Her diamond earrings, bought with my contributions, catching the lights. Dad stood, beer sloshing over the rim. You heard your brother? You're a leech on this family. Pack your crap and leave on never return. The laughter swelled, cruel and sharp, cutting through the sizzle of the grill. The smell of charred meat suddenly turned my stomach. I set my plate down, the plastic fork clattering against the checkered tablecloth. Fine, I said, my voice calm, almost conversational. I'll be gone by morning. Dad's face flushed purple, veins bulging. And don't come crawling back when you're broke. Landon high-fived Uncle Ted. Mom's smile wavered, but she said nothing. I walked inside, past the kitchen counter sticky with lemonade spills, past the fridge covered in Landon's band flyers. I didn't slam the door. I just closed it softly, the click echoing like a period at the end of a sentence. That night, the house felt smaller, suffocating. I packed 2 suitcases, clothes, laptop, Wacom tablet, the rolled-up art certificate from 7th grade I'd rescued from the drawer years ago. My phone buzzed. Tara, my best friend since PSU, an accountant with a mind like a steel trap and zero tolerance for bullshit. Meet me at the 24-hour diner on Canyon Road. She texted. I slipped out at midnight, the gravel crunching under my tires as I pulled away from the cedar shingles for the last time. Tara was already in a booth, black coffee steaming, a manila folder beside her plate of untouched fries. You're not leaving empty-handed, she said, sliding it across the formica. Inside, bank statements I'd forwarded her months ago. Transfer records from the joint account Dad forced me to link. A meticulous ledger I'd kept in a hidden Google sheet. $38,400. Total every $800 rent payment. Timestamped, labeled family expenses in Dad's sloppy handwriting. Tara's contact at the credit union had pulled the full history. This is embezzlement, she whispered, eyes gleaming. From your earnings, funneled to Landon's condo mortgage and Mom's shopping sprees. We can freeze it. I stared at the numbers, the betrayal crystallizing. All those late nights, skipped meals. The weight of their judgment hit had funded Landon's soundproofing foam and Mom's spa memberships. I didn't sleep. From the diner parking lot, I emailed the brewery client, confirming the contract and requesting an advance. Then I opened the secret accounts, $61,200 saved from side gigs. Dividends from a small stock portfolio Grandma had helped me start in college. I transferred it all into Harper Designs LLC, the entity Tara had helped me incorporate quietly. By 4 a.m., the paperwork was filed. By dawn, I was crashing on Tara's couch, the first rays of sun painting the Willamette River gold through her window. The fallout started small. Dad's first text, 3 days later, *Renstu. Where is it? I left it on red. Mom called next. Voice syrupy sweet, *. Honey, your dad didn't mean it. Come home, we'll talk over coffee, **. I blocked the number. Landon tried voicemail, slurring at 2 a.m. *, you owe us, Elise. Dad's pissed you're killing Mom, *. Tara monitored the joint account from her office. Withdrawals halted abruptly. Utility bills piled up, electric, water. The mortgage on the Beaverton house itself. Dad had been using my payments to float their lifestyle, assuming I'd never leave. I rented a cramped studio apartment above a buzzing coffee shop in Southeast Portland. Exposed pipes, creaky floors, the constant aroma of espresso seeping through the walls. It was mine. Harper Designs exploded. The brewery contract snowballed. Custom cans led to a craft distillery rebrand, $22,000. Then a boutique hotel chain needing full lobby graphics and signage, $45,000. I hired 2 junior designers, both overlooked hustlers like me, fresh out of school with fire in their eyes. Revenue crossed 6 figures by month 4. I paid down $20,000 in student debt, bought a used Subaru Outback for client meetings, and finally slept without the creak of Dad's footsteps overhead or Landon's bass thumping through the floor. The truth bomb dropped on a rainy Tuesday, for weeks after the barbecue. Tara orchestrated it perfectly, a family meeting at the old house, framed as estate planning for Grandma's will. Dad bit immediately, showing up in his pressed polo. Landon in ripped jeans and a band tee. Mom clutching a new Coach purse. My money, no doubt. They gathered in the kitchen, the same one where I'd wash dishes after every ignored achievement. Tara laid the manila folder on the oak table, the one scarred from years of Landon's drumsticks. Elisa's contributions, she said, voice like ice. Bank statements fanned out $38,400 in transfers. Every $800 envelope photographed and logged. Dad's face drained to ash. Landon's mouth opened, closed like a fish. Mom's purse slipped to the linoleum with a thud. You stole from me, I said, standing by the door, portfolio case in hand. Every month, while I ate cereal for dinner and pulled all labeled family, but it paid for Landon's condo fees and your spa days. Dad stammered. It was for the house, Tara interrupted, sliding the tax delinquency notice across. The house you haven't paid property taxes on in 2 years. $9,800 owed, liens incoming. The room reeked of burnt coffee from the pot Mom had forgotten on the burner, and panic. Landon lunged forward, face red. You can't prove. Tara's hand shot up. We already did. The account's frozen pending audit. Elisa's LLC owns her IP. You get nothing. I met Dad's eyes. I'm done, I said, the words final, quiet. No yelling, no tears. Just power. Mom sobbed. But it was for the life slipping away, not for me. I turned and walked out, the screen door slapping shut behind me. They tried everything after. Dad showed up at my studio unannounced, hat literally in hand, rain dripping from his jacket. We're family, Elise. Let's fix this. I pointed to the security camera above the door. Leave, or I call the cops. Mom mailed handwritten cards. I'm sorry. We were wrong. Scented with her perfume. I recycled them unopened. Landon's music gear hit Craigslist in lots. Amps for $200, guitars for pennies. His condo, foreclosure notice taped to the door 3 months later. The bank reclaiming it for missed payments. A year in. Harper Designs relocated to a sunlit loft in the Pearl District, exposed brick walls. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the river, my logo etched in frosted glass on the door. I launched a sustainable merch line. Organic tees with my designs. Totes from recycled sales. Stickers funding a scholarship for overlooked art students. The first recipient was a girl from Beaverton, 16, whose dad dismissed her sketches as a waste of time. Her thank you note hangs framed in my office. You showed me it's possible. Dad took a night shift at an Amazon warehouse, $19 an hour, scanning boxes under fluorescent lights until his back ached. Mom sold Avon door-to-door, her samples rattling in a tote bag, barely covering groceries. Landon bussed tables at a dive bar on Burnside. Tips scraped together for a studio apartment the size of a closet. Walls thin enough to hear the neighbors argue. The cedar-shingled house went to auction, sold to a flipper for $120,000 under market. I didn't bid. I didn't need to. One evening, I stood on my loft balcony, city lights flickering below like a digital canvas. Sketchbook open to a new logo for a tech startup. The girl who once rolled up her certificate in a drawer now signed 6-figure contracts, her name on billboards across the city. Grandma's voice echoed from those college stock tips. Build your own path. I did. And I never looked back. Thank you for staying with me to the end. What would you have done at that barbecue table? Share your thoughts below and the city you're from. Let's see how far this story travels.